Most people think confidence is something you either have or you don't. I don't think that's true. I think it is something that can be built, it can be practiced, and it can be worked on. If you want tools that will make you feel more confident, stick around for this video. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 researched back tools from psychology and from acting to hopefully help you build confidence. The first one is the competence confidence loop. Essentially what this suggests is that we shouldn't wait to feel confident. Sometimes we just need to start and get going, practice and get better at the small stuff, and then from that we will become better at the big stuff. And the way this works is the more we try something, the more confident we feel. The more confident we feel, the better we feel about doing it, so we will probably become better at it. And that feeds into each other, that loop goes on and goes on. Confidence, competence loop. The second one is something personally I think is really interesting, and it's called self-distancing. Now this is something that has been researched quite a lot in psychology, and a more extreme version of this is something called the Batman effect, which we'll get into in a minute. But essentially self-distancing is talking about yourself or thinking about yourself in a third person way. So you are creating distance and space from yourself. Research has shown that by doing this, you can reduce negative emotions, you can feel calmer in high pressured situations. So whether it's thinking about yourself as if you were a fly on the wall, looking in to something you are about to do or something you have been doing, maybe it is you talking about the situation in the third person. So it's not I was doing this, it's they were doing this, James was doing this, whatever it is. Now, an extreme version of this is something that we probably all have heard, is an alter ego or a persona. Famously, Beyonce did it or still does it with Sasha Fierce. Adele did it with Sasha Carter. And then the extreme studied version of this is the Batman effect. Now what this study looked at is a group of, I think it was 5-year-olds, a group of kids essentially. And they had different groups that they were studying. One wasn't given the task, one was given a version of the task, and one was given this exact task that I'm about to explain right now. And that was to ask themselves repeatedly, what would Batman do in this situation? Now obviously Batman for a lot of children, maybe even for a lot of adults, is a well-known figure and someone we look up to and respect. Now what it found, this study, is that the kids that kept asking what would Batman do in this situation not only performed better, but their concentration and focus was more consistent. So as weird as it sounds, sometimes it might be something that you want to do to try and cultivate a sense of confidence and ownership, either thinking what would so-and-so do in this situation, whether it's a character you know, or creating your own version of what that is, your own version of yourself that is confident, that is empowered, that isn't afraid to step out and speak or give a presentation. You know, you will hopefully get to a point, as Beyonce says in her interviews, she doesn't need that anymore. You won't need that anymore. Maybe you will, but it is a tool to get you to a place where you are feeling more confident. Number 3 is embodying confidence. Now, this is something that has been researched in psychology as well as in acting. And it's slightly controversial in psychology. There was, or is, a famous psychologist called Amy Cuddy, did a TED talk about power posing. Now, it was controversial because a lot of people, psychologists I should say, said that the study was hard to replicate and found holes in what the study kind of found, its research highlighted. The study was essentially saying that if you can adopt poses that are powerful or high status, whether it's hands on hips, whether it's hands out, outstretched, that will make you feel more confident. Now, recently, the study has been replicated, and the findings were more that by closing your body down, making yourself smaller, you will start to feel less significant and you will start to feel less confident. Now, that was replicated. It wasn't necessarily replicated, this idea of power posing making you feel confident, but there is certainly something in, obviously, the idea of what your body is doing and how that informs your mind, right? But whether you want to take it from psychology or not, actors are very well versed in this, and it's called the outside in approach. There are a lot of practitioners like Michael Chekhov, Maria Uspenskaya that did work with animals, Laban, and what this fundamentally looks at within acting training is manipulating your body or changing your body positioning or your stance or your gait, whatever it is, can have an effect on the way you feel. Now, this might be a route in for characterization, but it might also be a route in for how someone or a character feels about themselves, their emotions, their energy, their status. Now, what it usually finds is the more open you are, whether it's hands on hips, whether it's bringing the chest up, bringing the eye line up, makes you feel higher status. It makes you feel something. Essentially, changing your body can make you feel something. Now, whether it is rigidly backed up by psychology or not, that remains to be seen. I'm sure there'll be hopefully studies done on this in the future. But if you give it a try and it works for you, great. Close your body down, notice how that makes you feel. It probably doesn't make you feel good. Open your body up, breathe with that, and notice how that makes you feel. Once you move past that, this feels weird, I'm doing this on my own, who does this? You might start to get a sense of, actually, I feel like I'm taking up space. I'm owning space. I'm owning my presence. I'm owning my body. I'm owning the room. If that works for you, great, try it. Manipulate it in certain ways. What happens if you do that, but in a very, very reduced sense so that nobody would know? You know, I may not stand in a room with my arms outstretched, but I might just move my shoulders back a little bit, and that might give me a little feeling reminiscent of what that big feeling was. If that helps you, great, try it. This is from actor training. If you want to do some more research into this, have a look at Michael Chekhov, Laban, and then a slightly different version of this is Maria Uspenskaya looking at animal studies, essentially looking at how animals move. Again, big status animals, lions, bears, even eagles might help. But essentially, embody confidence. Manipulate, change your body, it might help you feel more confident. So if you want to feel more confident, remember these 3 tools from psychology and acting. It might help. If it does, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, again, let me know in the comments or get in touch with me via my website. If you like this video, please subscribe, it really helps. And if you want me to focus on something particular or something specific in a future video, also let me know. Follow for more tips on acting, public speaking, and communication.